Hello, today we are going to take OpenBSD, the latest release x86, create a virtual machine for Word QEMU KVM, and install the desktop, X server, and as much as possible of the KDE Plasma desktop environment. And then we're going to connect remotely to this machine using OpenSSH and either XRDP, so the RDP server, or an VNC server. So first of all, what is OpenBSD? It's a BSD operating system. So the most well-known of the BSD operating systems is FreeBSD, and this is another such operating system, OpenBSD. So it has its own kernel, its own base user space, its own ports collection. This is where the upstream of the OpenSSH SSH server is within the project OpenBSD. Okay, so openbsd.org, latest version 7.1, Theodorat. Okay, so version 7.1 from April 2022. Okay, so it says that only 2 remote holes in the default install since 94 or something, 96. Okay, OpenBSD 7.1. So this is the entry point to the OpenBSD 7.1. This is the web page, openbsd.org/71.html. It says it's from April 2022. Okay, and on the FTP page, there's a list of mirrors, and there I should navigate to pub from public/openbsd/7.1. Okay, so what's new? I don't know how to read this. I'm looking for the instructions on how to download and how to install the distribution, the BSD operating system. So whereas a Linux distribution uses a Linux kernel, which is the kernel mode plus a minimal number of executables to communicate with the kernel mode, and then there's usually the GNU userland, so GNU libc and GCC and etc. GNU make, binutils. Then on top of that, the rest of Linux distributions packages, such as the ones from the KDE project, from the GNOME project, etc. Whereas in here, similar to FreeBSD, there's a base set of packages which contains the kernel and a libc and OpenSSH and an X server, etc., etc. The vast majority of the software that we're going to install on this will come not from the base but from the ports collection. Okay, so it has pre-built packages for AMD 64. Xenokara is the X server which is in base in So in the operating system proper, not in OpenBSD ports. Font config, free type, xserver, xorg, mesa, xterm, gcc plus llvm clang, GNU debugger. Okay, and now it says how to install. Let's look at how to install on AMD 64. Okay, if your machine can boot from CD, yes, it can. It's a virtual machine. We're going to use Virt Manager. You can write install 71.iso or cd 71.iso. What's the difference between them? Okay, so install 71.iso contains the X server, whereas CD71 requires additional data in order to install X server. So we want the bigger one, install 71.iso, which we can get from the download page. So we want the mirrors list. Let's find one, a CDN that we have heard of, such as Fastly. It says go to /pubs /openbsd/71, then for AMD 64 and there we need install 71.iso, which is this thing. Okay, which I've already downloaded. Now let's create a virtual machine. New, local ISO, forward, browse, install 71.iso, choose volume. Could not automatically detect that it's OpenBSD, so we'll tell it it's OpenBSD. OpenBSD 7. Forward. 10 gigabytes of RAM, 14 cores. At least 250 gigabytes. And we're going to call this thing OpenBSD and K, because we're trying to install as much of the KDE applications and packages as possible. OpenBSD K. Customize before network selection, the default one. Finish. So it says the older chipset. Let's get a newer one. Firmware BIOS is better than UEFI for sure. Yes. CPUs, they're never correct. Apply. Memory 10 gigabytes correct. Boot options virt.io, so it knows virt.io, no need to go for SATA for the hard disk. Great. CD-ROM, let's try with SATA. Okay, the correct file. NIC, it knows virt.io. Great. Tablet, it knows tablet. Everything looks really good. So begin installation. Okay, so this is the bootloader from the DVD. Okay, let's see how to install this thing. System requirements, installation media verification, creating media, preparing your system, installing the system. So installing is a relatively simple process. If you take your time and are careful to read the information presented by the installer, you shouldn't have any trouble. There are several ways to install. The easiest way should be to boot, which we did. Walk through the steps. So the installation procedure is designed to gather as much information about your system as possible at the beginning, so that no human interaction is required as soon as the questions are over. The order of the questions is what it is. So default values in square brackets, Ctrl+C to cancel, exclamation mark to get a shell. Okay, we don't do pixie boot. So once the kernel has loaded, yes, we will present it with the OpenBSD kernel boot messages, yes. And you will be asked whether you wish to install, upgrade, or auto install. So we want to install, Shift-I, enter. Choose your keyboard layout. Default is good for me. Host name, OpenBSDK. This thing. Available network interfaces, VIO, so this is VirtIO Ethernet network interface card, the first one. So we want to configure it with DHCP, enter. Autoconf probably is DHCP, enter. No IPv6 for me, thank you. Do we want to configure VLAN done using the correct name server and the DHCP server? Password for root account, yes. Start SSHD always. Do you expect to run the X Windows server? Indeed. Do you want the X Windows server to be started by xenodm? Yes. Change the default console to COM0. I don't know what that means. COM sounds like serial, so I don't want that. Set up a user, yes, of course. Administrator, password. Allow root login over SSH. No, it's okay for me. What time zone are you in? US Eastern, correct. Available disks are SD0, which is VirtIO disk, the first one. Which disk is the root disk? SD0, yes. So I've pressed enter many times. No valid MBR or GPT. So I tried with the GPT, but it complains, so I go with the default, which is whole, which is MBR. Enter. So it likes to create many partitions. That's what it is. I don't like these things, but this is for supposed security reasons. So most of the space, from 250 gigabytes, 174 is allocated to the partition /home. So it's okay, that's where I'm going to work. I'm going to try to build KDE Git repositories using KDE src-build. Let's see if that even works. So auto layout A, enter. Let's install the sets from the CD-ROM 0, yes. Path name correct. It has selected all of the sets, so BSD is the I don't know, probably the single core kernel. BSD.mp is the BSD multi processing kernels, SMP. RD is probably the rescue. base 71 is base, comp is probably compilers, man is man pages, games are BSD games, command line games, which I haven't played since 1996. Okay, Xbase is Xenokara, so Xbase, Xshare, Xfont, Xserve is Xenokara, which is the X server, which is part of the base, not part of ports in OpenBSD. I like what it selected, so it selected everything with an X. Selected sets are labeled X. So done, enter. Directory does not contain SHA. Continue without verification, yes. Installing the sets. So 3 kernels and a number of tar gzips. Okay, so enter I for a fresh install. I'm not connected to the serial console. I'm using a default QWERTY US keyboard. IPv4 address, root password. Okay, so it says, do you want to install additional sets? What additional sets? Because I've installed everything that's on my CD, which is on the ISO, installation ISO. So I go down, which is enter. Relinking to create a unique kernel. So I've created a user that was automatically added to the wheel group, which is good. Okay, reboot. I pressed enter to select the default option, which is square parenthesis reboot. This is the bootloader, but from the hard disk, not from the ISO. The ISO is not in the CD-ROM drive anymore, which is correct. A DHCP IPv4 address was served, which is 211. Okay. So it contains a ton of partitions. Boom. It boots in the XDM probably, the desktop manager. So the login screen. So I've installed everything. Now I should read my mail as root and the man after boot. Okay, I'm not going to log in graphically at all. So let's go with a SSH connection first. SSH administrator at 211. First time I'm connected to this machine, so I go yes. Password. Okay. And who am I? Administrator. Can I become super user? Yes. Root, Control D to exit. So $ prompt for non-root and hash mark sign for root. It's the prompt. I don't know what shell I mean here. So I want a bash. Then I want other command line things such as in Emacs. Then I want GUI tools such as a desktop environment and a tool to connect remotely in a graphical user interface fashion. Okay, so let's go with Let's read the mail. Okay, let's read the mail. So I have a message from Theodorat. More one. So I should man after boot. There's man minus k, which is apropos. GNU info. Okay, in order to install something, package add minus v rsync and then chromium and emacs no x. It knows I want emacs no x. Y minus v for verbosity. Okay, let's get a Kate text editor and write down. So I want man after boot. I want this thing. So there are binary packages, which are precompiled ports. There's a ports tree, which I'm not going to use. There's etc/rc and /rcconf. Okay. Okay, that's it. What do I use to exit? Q. Okay, back to my user administrator, Control L. And let's see how we install packages. So I want to search for packages. Okay, Control T, OpenBSD package search. Okay, the frequently asked questions about package management. So there's package underscore add, package underscore check, package underscore delete, package underscore info. I don't need to select a mirror, it's already selected, and then search with package info, this thing. Let's write it down, Control V. And I'm not going to probably use this thing. Let's see. So this search is for an individual file inside of a binary package. There's ports, then package add. I don't know how to do apt update and apt upgrade. Okay, so this is apt install. Let's upgrade. So this is apt upgrade. Hopefully it downloads the metadata automatically. Delete mz, the list of installed packages probably. Okay, and we can install an entire list of packages. Okay, this should be enough for now. So let's go search. So I want MC, package underscore add MC. I'm not root. Control R works. Okay. So what sort of unzip do I want? 0 without icon, with icon. I don't know. So MC is the orthodox file manager started by Miguel de Icaza, which is a clone of Norton Commander from the DOS times. So this thing uses glib, which is the GTK base library. It also installed as dependencies some zip and unzip executables and libraries in order to provide navigate into archives. Okay. While we're at this point, let's also install a proper shell. Okay, we can already switch to bash. How we do that? With change shell. Okay. So change shell minus s, but I don't know which shell. On change shell. So it says as new shell attempts to change the user's shell to new shell. And what's a new shell? So there's a file called /etc/shells, and I might need to put the entire path. Okay, so this thing, and then this thing. Okay, so cut, paste. So it's from port, so /usr/local/bin/bash. Pass minus s. This thing user. Okay. Control D. This thing again for my user. Okay, Control D again. Reconnect using SSH. Okay, now it says bash. What else? Become super user. Search for Emacs. Max. I want the no X11 variety. Package underscore add. Where are you? This thing. Okay. So now that I can survive at the command line, I have a text editor, I have an orthodox file manager, I have bash. What's next? Let's install some of the KDE packages that I'm going to use. So I'm going to use Kate and Crusader, the orthodox file manager for the graphical user interface and the text editor for the graphical user interface. Okay, let's go there. Okay, now let's find out how to install KDE on OpenBSD. KDE Plasma OpenBSD. So there's KDE4, I don't want that. OpenBSD ports. So there's KF5. Let's look at the versions. Okay, Corridors 598, which is really recent. Okay, what other goodies do we have? Qt Creator. Yes, we have Qt minus Creator. Which version of Qt? How do I find that? This thing. Okay, make file. Download. Shared libs. Q something. Where are you? Qt 5, but which version? I don't know. Next. So I'm familiar with the CLI and looking to install KDE Plasma 5. I don't believe you can get Plasma 5 under OpenBSD. So OpenBSD no longer has KDE 3 and 4, which is great. Okay, so there's Qt 5, RTS at least 5.15.2, great. Qt Web Engine, great. Qt Creator, KDE Framework, KDE Applications, almost everything, KDE Develop. Wow. Great. So the Plasma Desktop and other KDE applications have a strong dependence on Wayland. So what? It's a compile time dependency, I guess. Okay. Spectacle Wayland. So it requires Wayland. Okay, so in summary, no OpenBSD Wayland support, no KDE Plasma, less and less KDE applications. Okay, let's search here for Plasma. There's a thing which is called KDE Plasma. It's just a category. Okay, what about KWin? No KWin. Okay, so what's the alternative? CWM, bunch of WMs. Black box. KWin. So Qt and KDE packages and applications are available in ports. If you want a Qt-based DE, you can try LXQt. Okay. And LXQt is what? A meta package. Okay. Which means what? So it installs Pacman FM Qt, LX image Qt, etc. Okay, so this is the thing that we will try to install. So it even has pulse audio. Solid. Great. Most of the KDE Git repositories are in here. GVFS from the GNU camp. GStreamer. Color management. Audio video codecs. KDE Frameworks version 5. Netscape Portable Runtime. Qt Declarative ICU for internationalization. Icon theme. GDK. Image. Plugins. Harsh bus, everything. Okay. Oxygen icons. K-Wayland. So the packages are probably extracted and now it are probably downloaded already because there's not much network traffic. And the CPU usage is really low because I gave it 14 cores and it only uses 5. Okay, so let's go with this metal package. So lxqt. Lxqt. Okay, what else? I need OpenBSD XRDP. OpenBSD XRDP GitHub official page. So this is the official GitHub repository for XRDP, which is the RDP Remote Desktop Protocol server. github.com/neutrinolabs/xrdp. Closed. I'm trying to get XRDP working on OpenBSD. Login failed for display. Okay. And Matt says authentication is a mystery on OpenBSD. So the developer of XRDP and XRDP keeps suggesting things to the bug reporter, such as starting with -n to not demonize, so to remain in the foreground, the XRDP server. And then since the reporter did not respond anything in 6 months, it closes this bug, but I'm guessing XRDP does not work on OpenBSD. Let's find if that's the case. So this thing, what is this? Ctrl-Shift-V, XRDP. Not much luck. XRDP. No. Okay, let's ignore XRDP for now. Let's see what are the possibilities with the VNC. Okay. X11 VNC is junk. What is X11 VNC? Control C, Control T, wiki arch, Control V. It allows to remotely view and interact with real X displays. I don't want X real displays. I don't want X hardware. I don't want display hardware. I want just what XRDP does, which is it allows me to connect to the machine even if it doesn't have any monitor, any network, any graphical, any GPU, any iGPU, nothing. Okay. XVNC does not create an extra display. Should. It shows the real time, the existing X11 display. No. So there's a thing which is called XVNC, which is part of Tiger VNC. Okay. And we should use the VNC viewer from Tiger VNC. Okay, let's see what Tiger VNC is. So, initial setup. There's a thing which is called VNC server, a thing which is called VNC password, a thing which is called ~/.vnc directory. Okay, let's go there. So, I want Tiger VNC probably. So it's called Tiger VNC. Okay, and FLTK. Depends on FLTK. Okay. How do I start the server? Probably not as root, Control D. So I should run VNC password first. Password. Too short, must be at least 6 characters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Would you like to enter a view-only password? No. Okay. How do we exercise this thing? So there's a thing called SE Tiger VNC server users, which when you connect with a different user, it will spawn a different X instance, which I'm not sure I want. There's this configuration file, which I'm not sure it works. So direct calls to VNC server are not supported. Oh, let's try this. Which VNC server? So it's part of ports, it's part of Tiger VNC, it's in the expected place, so /usr/local/bin VNC server. Man. Okay. So it says I should select a display, otherwise it selects automatically display. Name is just a fancy text. Geometry, this is totally something that I want. And the depth is automatically 24 bits, which is correct. And what else? It's interesting in there. There's VNC server list, VNC server kill, and FG, foreground process. Let's use that because this way we can Control C to click it. Okay, maybe we also get additional logging. No. Okay, so it was, I forgot everything. This thing. Okay, Q. So VNC server. No display, no name, geometry, yes. Okay, I'm on a 1080p monitor. So that's width and height. So width, that's 1920 times 1080. So this is too much. I need something smaller, so 1040 and 1080. Wait. So with 40 pixels smaller than 1080p, so 1040, and yeah, that's it. What else? Foreground minus FG and enter. So it says it started successfully. It's created a directory which is tilde/.vnc, which contains the equivalent of .xinitrc, which is tilde/.vnc/x_startup. There's a config file, and it has a run x_startup file. So it probably has the default desktop. Let's try to connect to it. Ctrl+Shift+D. So I'm on a Kubuntu 2204 hardware machine. I need the VNC viewer. I don't know how to use it. So I want VNC viewer and host and display. Host is, I don't know. No, it's not localhost because it's a virtual machine. 192. And display, do I need to specify display? So it says it created display 1. So let's say display 1. What else? VIA shared, no shared view only, full screen, no race, zombie, password, encoding, BGR, on CMAP, true color, depth, compress level, quality, no cursor shape, X11 cursor. I don't know what's these cursor things sound interesting. Okay, so it requests the VNC password. So this 6-character one. So it started with incorrect size. So it's too wide, too tall. So where are you? Ctrl+C to kill the server, and smaller yet, smaller still. And 60. Okay. Okay, this is enough. So there's no vertical or horizontal scroll bars on the VNC viewer. Okay, so I'm in here. How do I start lxqt? So I go lxqt xinitrc Arch Linux, great, Arch Wiki. Okay, so lxqt is a merge of razorqt, lxd, lxdqt, pacman, honggenyi from Taiwan. Okay. And how do I start this thing? xinitrc, just exec start lxqt, which should be start lxqt. Okay. So welcome to lxqt, default window manager, I don't know. Which window manager does it use? OpenBox is the default window manager. You can specify different window manager. Well, if this is the default, we don't have kwin OpenBox. Okay, we're waiting. No CPU usage, no network usage. Okay, so it's the DE, so the desktop environment LXQt has started. It has painted the X11 root window, so the desktop background. I can still see the FVWM desktop switcher and the desktop and the FVWM window manager. There's the a desktop context menu. So how do we remove that dot which is in the cursor? Let's try that. So minus help this thing. Okay. X11 cursor. What's that? No cursor shape. I don't know. Let's look at the manual. So no cursor shape. Disable cursor shape updates protocol extensions used to handle remote cursor movements locally on the client side. Using cursor shape updates, it decreases delays with remote cursor movements and can improve bandwidth usage dramatically. Okay. Use a real X11 cursor shape with X-style cursor shape updates instead of drawing the remote cursor on the frame buffer. This disables the dot cursor and disables cursor position updates. Oh, sounds spooky, scary. Let's try once. Okay. Not okay. This shows the KDE. I don't even have a cursor. Okay. This is what we have. Okay, let's try to start LXQt directly. So Ctrl+C to close the VNC server. We're going to edit this file. So Emacs, middle click paste. So it says unset session managers, unset dbus, uname Linux, SUSE, I don't use SUSE. This doesn't do anything. So the only thing that's interesting in here is this thing. So etc x11 xinit rc. Let's see what this file does. Ctrl+C, Emacs, middle click paste. Where are you? Ctrl+C. Okay. So it does some magic. X resources X mode map. X resources X mode map sounds okay. XRDP, SSH identity, agent sounds good. Xclock, Xconsole, Xterm, FVWM, Xterm. Okay, so this is the thing that actually runs, and we can prove. So XC, let's copy this file. CP to the previous file. Where are you? This thing. Let's back this up first. Okay. Then copy the good file over the local file. Okay, and let's edit it. Let's put 2 more X terms or an X size to prove that this thing is run. Ctrl XS, Ctrl XC, and then let's restart the VNC server. Okay, so it doesn't crash. Okay, we have X size, so we have successfully edited the X server configuration. So let's push it even further. So it's it again. I don't want this clock. I don't want FVVM, WM. I want, however, I start execute. Start and execute. Ctrl XS, XC. Start and execute, that's the name. And no X size. And no extern. Like this, Ctrl XS, Ctrl XC. Okay. No crashes yet. Sounds good. Okay, and now we're inside the LXQt actual desktop. So we have an X console, which if we close, we might lose everything. So let's keep it open. We have a desktop switcher. We have a start menu. We have a console, which looks strange because of this space in here. How can we hide the toolbars? Okay, the fonts are too much. Appearance, font, apply. Okay. Why does it use deja vu sounds instead of Noto? I don't know. There's no Noto, that's why. Okay, close. Let's install more things. So su minus. What else are we going to do? Package underscore add. So we have Kate, we have console, we have Crusader. We can connect via SSH, we can connect via VNC. That's about everything. Okay, so this was about how you download the latest OpenBSD ISO, install a virtual machine, virt manager, QEMU KVM, install the OpenBSD latest 7.1 operating system, AMD 64, install all of the sets, so including Senokara the X server. Then finish installing OpenBSD, including the OpenSSH server, connect to the machine, to the virtual machine using OpenSSH, so the SSH client, and then install many KDE packages, all of the LXQt packages, Tiger VNC as the VNC server, configure Tiger VNC as the VNC server, connect to the virtual machine using VNC, set the correct resolution, default bits per pixel, which is 24, no security, because I'm running locally, so no VNC security, and LXQt starts correctly, runs correctly. I have console, I have the LXQt terminal, which is called QTerminal. I have started to install KDE development packages, so I will have Kate and Crusader. And this is it. Thank you.